Welcome back to Splendid Tales, the place where bullies get roasted harder than diner coffee, and where arrogance meets the kind of karma that'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even rethink the way the world works. If you're new here, smash that like button and subscribe because tonight's story is a wild one. You don't want to blink and miss it. It all began on a Friday night at a buzzing bar filled with music, neon lights, and the clink of glasses. People were relaxed, conversations flowing like beer taps, until two sharply dressed black twins walked in, laughing as if the night belonged to them. They weren't causing trouble, weren't loud, just two brothers minding their business. But to the wrong set of eyes, they weren't guests. They were prey. Leaning at the bar were two local police officers, the type who thought the badge gave them the right to play sheriff, judge, and clown all in one. They spotted the twins and grinned at each other with that ugly smirk, the kind that promised nothing good. One of them muttered, "What are they doing here? Ain't their kind supposed to stick to the corner store?" The other chuckled, loud enough for nearby patrons to hear, sending ripples of unease across the bar. With swagger dripping from every step they stomped over, boots thudding like cheap drums. IDs. Now, one officer barked, cutting through the music. No hello, no respect, just raw hostility. The twins exchanged a look, cool as ice, then calmly handed over their licenses. But the officers didn't even glance at them before sneering. "Doesn't matter. You don't belong here." The room froze. Drinks halted midair. Tension spread like smoke. If you're enjoying the build-up, hit like and subscribe to Splendid Tales. Trust me, this is only the first spark in a firestorm. The silence inside the bar was so sharp you could hear the ice melting in a glass. The twins didn't flinch, didn't get loud, didn't give the cops the reaction they were hunting for. They stood tall, their tailored jackets catching the neon glow, calm like two statues carved from stone. That calmness only made the officers angrier. One of them leaned in close, his breath thick with beer and arrogance. "You causing trouble already, huh?" Acting too quiet, suspicious. He jabbed a finger at one of the twins' chests, puffing his chest like he was in some Western standoff. His buddy chimed in, "Yeah, probably here to sell something, or steal. That's what y'all do, right?" Laughter spilled from his mouth, ugly and forced. A woman at a nearby table muttered, "Leave them alone." The officer snapped his head toward her. "Stay out of it before you're next." She sank into her chair, but phones were already in hands, cameras pointed. Red recording dots blinked like little eyes in the crowd. The taller twin finally spoke, his voice smooth as velvet but sharp enough to cut glass. "We showed you our IDs. We paid for our drinks. You have no reason to be here." The officer's face twisted, the veins in his neck bulging. "Reason? Boy, I am the reason." He pulled out his cuffs, metal glinting under the lights. "You're coming with me." The bar gasped. But the twins? They didn't even blink. If you're still with me, make sure to like and subscribe to Splendid Tales. Things are about to heat up. The officer grabbed one twin's arm, twisting it roughly, trying to slam him onto the bar. The crowd erupted with shouts, some yelling, "Stop!" while others held their phones higher, making sure every second of this disaster was caught in 4K. The second officer moved in on the other twin, barking, "Hands behind your back, don't make me tase you." His face was crimson, rage mixing with the sick thrill of domination. But the twins didn't resist. They stood firm, their expressions unreadable, as if the whole thing was a bad comedy act. One of them even let out a chuckle, low and steady, and that sound infuriated the cops. "You think this is funny?" The officer roared, spit flying. The twin who was being cuffed leaned in slightly, speaking in a tone so calm it cut deeper than a scream. "The funny thing is that you don't know who you're messing with." The officer froze for just a second, his grip faltering. But then he shoved harder, trying to cover his unease. "Shut up," he barked. "You're nothing." That single word, nothing, rolled through the bar like poison. People gasped, disgusted, shaking their heads. A man at the back muttered, "They're going to regret that." The twins exchanged that silent look again, a communication sharper than words. The calm before the storm was so thick you could taste it. Something was about to shift, and when it did, the officers would never forget it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to Splendid Tales. You won't believe the twist that's coming. The twin who had been shoved finally spoke, his voice slicing through the bar's heavy silence like a blade. "You boys should have done your homework before running your mouths." He nodded toward his brother, who slowly reached into his jacket. The crowd held its breath, phones zooming in, the tension unbearable. The officer's hand twitched near his taser, but before he could move, a leather badge case snapped open on the bar, shiny, bold, unmistakable. FBI. The bar exploded with gasps. The officers' smirks vanished, their mouths dry, their swagger drained faster than spilled beer. The second twin pulled out his own credentials, placing them side by side. Two FBI badges gleaming under the neon lights. Every recording phone captured the humiliation in perfect clarity. "You're under federal investigation," the calm twin said flatly. "Interference, harassment, abuse of power, the list goes on. And the best part? You wrote the evidence yourselves." He gestured at the sea of phones, all aimed at the cops like loaded guns. The officers stuttered, faces pale, hands trembling as whispers in the bar turned into laughter. One man at the back shouted, "Y'all messed up big time." Another raised his glass, "To karma." The cops, once so inflated with arrogance, now looked like two children caught stealing cookies. And as the twins calmly straightened their jackets, the humiliation was sealed. The lesson? Prejudice doesn't just destroy others, it detonates the fool who carries it. This is Splendid Tales. If you enjoyed this downfall, hit like and subscribe because more stories like this are coming.